Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Twilight Princess 3 Heart Run. I am Eesgooshee.
I'm Double Snop a lot.
And this is an Avenged Sevenfold logo on fire.
You missed.
Yeah, that's what happens if you try the finishing blow and miss, is you get stuck in the ground. So, I was going to talk about the sorrow. And you said something about how in Soul Eater it's bad to eat souls, but it's okay to eat the souls of people that eat souls. And that reminded me of how, spoiler alert for Metal Gear Solid 3 if you haven't played it, go do it now! But the sorrow where you fight pretty much everyone that you've killed so far. If you ever killed a guy, and then a vulture comes and eats his remains, and then you kill the vulture and eat it as a ration, when you fight him, or when you see him in the sorrow, he'll just be running with a vulture on his shoulder going, "You ate me!"
But what if someone's waiting for it to come out on 3D to play it? Then are they allowed to wait?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, I don't know. See, the thing is, I'm guessing most people that haven't played it so far but are interested in it know about the sorrow. I'm not going to reveal the rest of the plot because that probably is the best plot of any Metal Gear Solid game.
Probably.
That's the one that, like, people that hate Hideo Kojima and how convoluted his storylines are, that's the game that they like. And honestly, it's probably got the most emotional ending out of all of them. 4 comes close, but 3 will make you cry like you're watching Toy Story 3. So I'm pretty sure this elevator room would not even remotely come close to working in real life. But I wouldn't know. I'm not an engineer of crazy corkscrew elevators.
Maybe it's...
I'm not Archimedes.
Maybe there's like some motors assisting it that you can't see underneath the floor.
I guess. Like power steering?
Yeah. It's kind of a cop-out, but...
Now, an interesting thing here is that if you have your senses on and the spikes come out and then retract, the ghost of them will still be there. So you kind of know that they're there. It's honestly not that useful. The biggest thing with the senses here is getting rid of the ghoul rats so that they don't bog you down and let you sink into the sand. Wolf Link does sink considerably slower in sand than regular Link. But yeah, this is basically just like that room with all the firewalls in the Fire Temple of Ocarina of Time. Except instead of fire, it's spikes. And I'm pretty sure Wind Waker had a room with a bunch of thorny branches that would erupt from the ground. So, what the next Zelda game needs to have is a maze with all these kind of crazy walls, except they're all made out of thorny spikes that are on fire.
You could just wait for them to burn up then.
No, the spikes aren't organic.
Okay.
It's just they have more spikes on them. Because Yo-Dog, I heard you like spikes on your spikes, so I put some thorns on your thorns. So you can take damage while you take damage. One way you can tell that there are ghoul rats about is you'll hear the squeaking when there's no regular mice around. And then sometimes you'll also be able to see the little puffs of dust that they kick up as they run around. So here's another one of those timed doors. And that's why it's important to clear the room out beforehand. I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for. Oh, I think I might be trying to max out my arrows again. Oh hey, look who it is. I think this is the only dungeon in the entire game where it takes me 3 videos to find Uku. I'm pretty sure most of them I find Uku in the first video. And then here's the big spinny thing of spinny death. I don't know, these were Grim Reapers, not the Shadow Temple of Ocarina of Time. That temple was messed up.
You know your lantern's still on.
Yeah, I know.
You should turn it off to save some fuel.
Well, there are bugs in this room.
Oh.
Pretty sure.
Are you sure? Because I don't see them.
Whatever, I don't use the lantern that much. Yep, see, there's bugs. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, if you think about it, each of the dungeons in Ocarina of Time had a dual purpose. Like the Forest Temple is someone's house, and the Fire Temple were mines, kind of like they are in this game. And then there's the Shadow Temple, which is full of guillotines and traps and all sorts of that kind of stuff. And then, like, there's rooms that are just built with skulls. Just made of skulls. And probably one of the worst parts is when we find out that it was built by the royal family.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you're on the wrong side.
So it's mini-boss time. This guy's pretty cool. Supposedly, this is a spirit that they couldn't, like, send to, where... They couldn't, like, restrain it the normal way. So they basically sealed it inside this giant sword. And then were sort of holding it captive with all those little pieces of paper and the writings on them. So we just let this guy loose. Nice job breaking it, hero.
Why did they decide to put him in a sword and not something like a chair? Table.
Because if he was a chair, he would totally break whenever anyone sat on him. Like that robot in the Swaim video. I'll probably put a link to that Swaim video in the description. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the internet.
Unless maybe the whole reason it's a sword is because that was the only thing he let them put him in. They're like, hey, why don't you get in this table? And he's like, no. How about this sword? Sword? That's a huge sword. That's pretty badass. I want a huge sword. You should take his sword when he's done with it, because it's way more badass than yours.
I can't. That's one thing that I really miss from Wind Waker, is that you could pick up enemies' swords. It was almost never useful, but it was still awesome. Oh, another thing I really miss from that game is infighting. Like, the enemies wouldn't specifically attack each other, but they did have friendly fire amongst themselves. And that would make the Cave Ordeal so much easier. Also, I didn't take a sword because it exploded. But here is what many people will call the most fun item in the game. What are you laughing at? Because you know it's true?
I do. Yeah!
Spinner! The most badass dreidel in the world.
Oh, what were those things called in elementary school?
Tops?
No, they were tops that you battled with somehow.
Oh, I know they have like Beyblade or whatever out now or something.
No, ours were way more badass, because you just, wound up yours and launched it, and then they would knock each other over.